people, welcome to Journey to God. My name is Paige. This is my channel where I sit and I talk to you all about experiences that I'm having in my everyday life, how I'm trying to bring spirituality to my reality in hopes that I can bring God into everything that I'm doing and to kind of help me get through this journey that I'm going on with Him. I have been having to tap into being and remembering that I am somebody or something to God. And I say that in a sense of putting what He says about me or what He thinks about me as a priority over what I think about myself, what other people think about me, what other people think I should do or think I would do. There have been situations going on lately that makes me go back and not necessarily do what I used to do before I got saved, but just to remember that I did those things. And I don't think that it's a bad thing to remember who you were before you got saved and before you actually changed your life for God. But I think that if I'm not remembering that situation or remembering the past or remembering the things I used to do, if I'm not remembering it in order to help me move forward, I feel like it's a waste of time, because the minute that I asked for forgiveness and the moment that I gave my life to God, He forgave me. And God doesn't just forgive, He forgets. It's in the Bible. I'll put that in the description. It's in there. But if He has moved on, I feel like it's kind of counterproductive for me to either behave in that way that I ask forgiveness for, or for me to think about how I used to, especially if I'm beating myself up about it. Like, if I can remember what I did and it's impassive to me, or I can use it as a tool to help others, then I think that that's fine. But there's been some things that I remember and it makes me feel like crap. It makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong with God. And the thing is, these are things that I've done way before I got saved, way before I realized that I was doing something wrong. But then I also have to remind myself that that's who I was and that's not who I am now. And it's easy to do that when nobody is pointing out who you used to be. And that is a problem. That's such a problem for me. Man, people love to tell you or like to link and like to say, oh, you did that before, so you're going to do that now. When I first hear people tell me that or imply it or whatever, it makes me believe them, because you're like, oh, these people love me, or these people care about me, or these people want to help me, or these people are good people or whatever. And they probably are, but you don't know what God told me. If you don't know what God told me about myself, how am I supposed to take whatever you say about me serious? Especially if what you are saying does not line up with what He told me. Nobody? Okay. Because it just doesn't make sense. If it's not lined up with what God said, I respect your opinion, but I had to learn to not let it get in my spirit, because those things will try to get in your spirit and it'll make you act differently. If I believe what you say, I don't have the will to fight it anymore. I won't have the will to fight it, because I'm going to feel like no matter what I do, no matter how much I pray, no matter how much I told God I'm going to change, because you said I'm going to do it again, I must going to be doing it again. I probably will. You have to prioritize what God said over what anybody else says, and not just other people, like yourself, your own inner demons, your own inner emotions and things that you want to use to disqualify yourself. Like, I have to fight myself from talking about myself. Like, I am not trying to be out here talking crap about myself for something that I know I ask forgiveness for, and not just ask forgiveness for, I genuinely changed my life. Like, there's proof to show. And even if there was no proof, that's fine, because guess what? You can't see God either, but he's still there. Just because you can't see him on paper or in a picture or whatever does not mean that he is not still alive, he is not still moving, and he does not still forgive. I feel like this is a big thing for a lot of people, because I know how I was before I got saved, and I know that I felt guilty, but I felt like there was nothing that I could do about feeling guilty. I felt like being guilty was just something that I would have to get used to because I was going to mess up again. And when I realized, like, wait a minute, I asked for forgiveness and he forgave me instantly, so why do I still feel bad? And that was something that I learned to fight off. I fought it so good, but then there's levels to it. So there's levels as far as you just saying that I did something wrong or whatever, but then there's those things where you're like, how could you ever think that I would do that? Those things, those are the ones that get to me. And for you to think that I didn't change, like, I want so bad for people to see that I am a different person, or to see that I do have an anointing, that I am valuable to God, but sometimes they don't. And I'm learning to not care, because my relationship with God is real. Like, real. It's like too real sometimes. Like, it's like really real. So I have to prioritize what he said over you, because he spoke the world into existence, baby. Like, he spoke the world into existence. So I'm gonna bet on it that what he said about me is true. And I'm gonna bet on it that whatever it is that I did before is not gonna happen again, because he said it wasn't. He said that that's not who I am. And me personally, because it's a personal thing, you gotta be the one to walk the way that he told you to walk. When God told me that I was not that person, and those were things that I should not have done, did not need to do, and was not gonna do anymore, I said okay. Not because he, she, we said that I should stop. It was because God said. I just want you guys to know that you don't have to live in that. If somebody tells you that you're something, if it did not line up with what God said, and if you go back to God and say, hey, God, you know, this person told me that I was this. Do you agree with that? He'll let you know. You know what I mean? And you have to go off of what he says, not off of what they say, and not off of what you say. And when you find out what he tells you about yourself, live that way. Whenever I have these situations and these feelings of guilt and these feelings of unworthiness and things like that, I just go back to God and I talk to him about it. And every time it's just been coming up, you're forgiven, like Bible verses, and preachers are speaking on it, and songs that I'm hearing is just about being forgiven and instant forgiveness, you know, as long as your heart is where it's supposed to be. So I will talk to you guys later. Make sure you talk to God about it, and have a nice day.